Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to tell you about one of the more exciting exploration plays in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt. So my name's Stefan Sklepowicz. I'm the CEO of Kirkland Lake Discoveries. So basically, we're on the pathway to the next billion-dollar valuation. Companies like Great Bear, Newfound Gold, that went from a startup to 1.5 billion. They had a blueprint, and we're following that same blueprint, and that's what I'm going to present to you today, so you can see how we're set up for that exciting run up from our $40-50 million market cap to that $1 billion. Our location is in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt, one of the most prolific belts in the world. Over 300 million ounces of gold have been discovered in the Abitibi. Specifically, we're within that gold section of the Blake River group of rocks. The Blake River group of rocks on the Quebec side of the border has had an extensive amount of exploration. There's been many significant mines, Cumont, Horn, LaRonde, that have been discovered and have been some of the biggest in Canadian history. You'll look at that map, and what you see is there's a dotted line down the center of it. That's the Quebec-Ontario border. You'll notice that the resolution of the map on the Quebec side, which is on the right, is much higher. It's almost like they're looking through an 8K television as compared to our boob tube on the Ontario side. There's been a lot less money spent, a lot less exploration. Most of it was focused on the large cracks, the Larder Lake Cadillac Break, which is to the south of our property, and the Dester Porcupine, which is to the north. And so we saw this as an opportunity in a bear market to accumulate a massive land package. So we have 40,000 hectares, and that's what we're currently exploring. What you see in yellow is our land package, so 40,000 hectares, as I said. Some of the largest neighbors that we have are Agnico Eagle, Pan American Silver, Eldorado Gold. Those are all within the camp. It's a 100-year-plus mining camp and has been well established as having an excellent infrastructure, good jurisdiction to work. And so we're taking advantage of that with having very low cost, excellent access to workers, et cetera. And basically what we're trying to do is figure out where the next major deposit is in those Blake River group of rocks. We have Evans high grade across the property, up to 561 grams per ton over a half meter, 17 grams over 12.6. So we know that these rocks are well endowed. What we're looking for now is where they're economic in nature. How do they tie together? And so when you're exploring a district of this size, one of the things that you need to do is to break it up into bite-sized pieces. And one of the ways that we did that was with a soil geochemistry program over the west side of our property. So in 2024, we did a broad regional geochemistry project. And what we found were these clusters of mineralization that were around that pink blob. That's a pluton. So if you think of a magma chamber that doesn't quite get to surface, it sits there and circulates for a couple million years, it pulls in a lot of minerals from the surrounding rocks. And so when we're seeing that happening around the pluton, this got us really interested in what was going on. We did high-resolution geophysics over the property, and we noticed that there's magnetic destruction in those same areas. And so we started looking around the property, and the only place that there was drilling is in that southern portion that you can see on the map. And they got 2.6% copper, 2.8% zinc, some silver and gold over 22.5 meters. So we'd found our economic grade and width, and basically what we were doing is following up on that drilling. So our team got to work out there. We ended up discovering some major indicators of intrusion-related mineralization, very elevated bismuth, molybdenum, tellurium, that's indicating that this was a long-lived system that brought in a lot of mineralization. Our drills hit the field in August 2025, and we encountered some semi-massive and massive sulfides in our drilling that indicated that this was not just a VMS deposit as how it was explored in the past, but is actually more intrusion-related. We also made a discovery in one of those coincident geochemistry and geophysical anomalies to the northeast, which was 2 kilometers away. And in that, we encountered an altered syenite. So anybody that knows the Kirkland Lake camp, one of the more exciting things in Kirkland Lake is the syenite bodies. They act as a very good sponge for mineralization. They absorb a lot of those hydrothermal fluids, and that's exactly what we're seeing at the Wolverine Bend target, which we're currently drilling. At Winnie Lake, where we had our high-grade copper sulfides, from surface, so basically there's about 10 meters of cover. We hit bedrock, and then we were into the high-grade mineralization. We had 31 meters of 1.22% copper equivalent, 36.5 meters of 1% copper equivalent, et cetera, et cetera. So again, indications that this system has been long-lived. There was a lot of mineralization that went along with it. And now we're in the middle of a 25,000 meter drill program to drill test this further. So in October of 2027, we ended up raising $12.7 million to finance this. We're about 4,000 meters in. First 1,000 meters has already been assayed, and the rest we're waiting on. But this will be ongoing with consistent news flow for the next 6 months. So what we're seeing is a 17-kilometer perimeter around this intrusion, both within the intrusion and at the outskirts. And so within the intrusion, we're looking at a late-stage syenite that came in that is mineralized, and we've seen that now in multiple drill holes, and then remobilized VMS material that will be at the exterior of that intrusion. And so when we're getting these drill hole confirmations, the geophysical confirmations, and the geochemistry confirmations, we think we're on the right track with our current program. Our last drill hole, you can see in the bottom left-hand corner there, that's the altered syenite. So there were significant fluids that came through, have altered the rocks, deposited mineralization within it. The exciting thing for us is that we see a northeast dipping magnetic deep-seated structure that appears to be coincident with this mineralization, and that's where we think that this is coming from. So follow-up holes are going to be starting soon to be able to see that downward extent of that mineralization. In December of this past year, the 22nd of December, we made an acquisition for a property just south of Kirkland Lake, the Murado mine. This is a 442,000 ounce deposit, 1.29 grams per ton, and this is a open pit mine, historic in nature, but it can be open pittable. This was done the PEA was done in 2018. It was done with $1,300 gold, and the cutoff that they had was at 0.45. So we believe that there's an opportunity to increase this resource without doing another drill hole, just by moving a slider where you can get to that $5,000 marker. That makes sense. And so we expect this resource to grow significantly. But what we also see on this property is the exploration upside. It's sandwiched between two major faults. We have the McElroy Fault to the north, the Catherine Fault to the south, and these cross-cutting shear structures that appear to be holding mineralization. So some significant grabs that haven't been tested up to this point in time, 137 grams per ton, we have 41 grams per ton that are along these shears, and we think that this mineralization is continuing in a stacked shear fashion. So what we're seeing is with the deep IP that was done at this is a large IP anomaly directly underneath the resource that's existing. All the drilling at this was above 250 meters. So it's wide open at depth, hasn't been tested, and you also see along strike on either side of it that we have those similar anomalies, and again, haven't been tested. So with this 25,000 meters, a drill will be coming down into the Murado property shortly that we can drill test that downward extension as well as the east-west extensions of these and see how big this deposit can actually be. Just to sum up, 25,000 meter drill program ongoing, fully financed. We're testing new copper and gold horizons around the KL West property, as well as drill testing Murado and KL South. We also do a series called KLDC Treasure Hunters. So every 2 weeks, we put out a YouTube episode that basically walks through what our team is doing. So you get to see core coming out of the drill rig. We talk about what we're seeing. And being an investor in the junior mining space for the last 20 years, I thought this was important to be able to communicate with people so they could see exactly what's going on, rather than 6 months later seeing something completely different when a gold company switched to lithium. So this way you're coming along for the ride, you get to enjoy the excitement the same way that we do, and every piece of the puzzle falls into place at the same time with you guys. So our last financing, as I said, we raised $12.7 million. Some of our key shareholders that came in for that financing were Eric Sprott, Rob McEwen, we had Crescat Capital and Quinton Henney, Earth Labs, we had a commodity fund out of Singapore. So we have some very strong shareholders. Newfound Gold had vended in a property that became a major shareholder in our company, and they're a very supportive shareholder. So we're well financed, a very clean cap table, no debt, and no overhangs. So what you see is what you get. Myself and the CEO, Ben Cleland, our VP of Exploration, worked at VRIC, has a lot of experience in exploration in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt. Senior geologist Mike Kilbourne has over 200,000 meters of core now in the Abitibi. He's seen most rocks. Young Davidson's one of the places that he's worked, which is a cyanite-hosted gold deposit just 60 kilometers to our west, and the rocks that we're digging up look to be about the same. Drake Hyden's my young gun. He's the guy that's running all the 3D models and GIS, etc. As I said, KLDC Treasure Hunters, if you want more information on us, that's one of the easiest places to start. So we've been doing this for almost 2 years now. You can go back in time and you can follow along with our discoveries that we've made, all the steps along the way, get to know the team. Basically, we're putting those out every 2 weeks so that you can see exactly what we're up to. My board of directors, I have Denis Laviolette, who's our chairman. Denis took Newfound Gold from a startup to 1.5 billion. This guy understands capital markets, he understands mining, he's an excellent geologist. Gary Nassif, Christina McCarthy, Vincent Dubé-Bourgeois are all experienced in the industry, have no problem accessing capital, as well as going through transactions for exits for these mining companies. So just to sum it up, we're in one of the best locations in the world. We're in the Abitibi Greenstone Belt in Kirkland Lake. These rocks have been overlooked for years, underexplored. We're in the middle of an aggressive drill program. We're well capitalized, and we are poised for exponential growth. So this checks all the boxes when it comes to the blueprint for that next billion-dollar company. We're at booth 601, so if you have any questions, please come by. I'm happy to answer any of them for you.